Part of the supply is also driven by exactly what Charlene mentioned, right? Where the issuers want to tap the market, right? So obviously, last couple of years, a lot of them have gone to the bank market, which has been a source of funding, given that some, the rates was too high and so on. We are actually seeing that shift now, and it's very much driven by the investor appetite. So investor appetite is there. If you look at the institutional investors, last year, a lot of them were going very short term. They were buying sovereigns and so on because you could get US Treasury at 4.5%, 5%, right? So
no need to think. Just put your money in treasuries. That's what everyone was doing.
But institutional investors are also not paid to do that, right? So obviously now with the upward sloping yield curve, a lot of them are starting to come to us, go for duration, go for more interesting structure. They don't mind for good names, go down the credit curve a little bit to get a bit more higher yield. And some who are multi-asset asset managers are also going to the equity market. Then we have another pocket, which is the retail high net worth investors. So that same thing, treasury bills have been paying good, decent spreads as well as mutual funds and so on. We are seeing that rotation out, and we're seeing a lot more retail private bank clients and now starting to look into bonds, stretching tenors as well. So I think that's one source of to drive the supply. Now the thematics, I would say, if you look at broader Asia and so on, whilst back closer home to Asia, we had some very major elections like India, Indonesia, South Korea. Japan had a snap election. Now most of the governments have got a clear mandate. So I think there's a lot of investments that can come in, and we're already seeing a few drivers. One, for ASEAN, a lot of that supply chain shift has actually happened. It has happened last couple of years, but now we're seeing real execution. There are people coming out to, across the ASEAN countries, sourcing for land, sourcing for areas to invest in, and making acquisitions and so on. So there will be, FDI's involvement, CAPEX requirements. So some of that will get into the capital markets. The other part is we all hear a lot of the narrative of AI and so on. AI will lead to a lot of CAPEX. The CAPEX in itself, a lot of digital infrastructure assets are being built. And it's not only the data centers themselves, but what it is in it, right? The equipment and so on. So that in itself is a very big driver for us. Now with data centers, you also need power, right? So the whole green energy and so on is going to be a strong narrative for the region. And obviously for Asia, we are still fairly dependent on generally oil and gas. So energy transition opportunities and all that will be there. And as the whole region becomes more affluent and generally, we are quite digitized in nature, then the logistics sector will do well, right? So we're seeing quite a lot of circular growth in a lot of our clients, whether it's ESR or some of your peers, right? They are building very nice business parks, warehouse facilities and all that, and all these require a lot of capital. So in all, there's, from the way that we look at some of these source of capital, there's close to 40-50 billion US dollar equivalent just in Southeast Asia, excluding even India, right? India will have their own way of, there's a lot more investment that need to go in.